Lottery. Well, we have a guest joining us now to talk about this trial. It's like winning the lottery when David Schwartz comes in, too. David is a criminal defense attorney and a former prosecutor. Always great to see you.
Hi,
Good morning.
Lisa. Hi, Vinny.
All right, let's talk about this testimony of this witness. I think, first of all, I just have to say a shout out to my hometown, Los Angeles. It gives me a big smile when I saw the names of the witnesses yesterday. Chai Rojana, Ming Fong Chu, and Manuel Quadra, and Eric Berghammer. I mean, LA's got the diversity going on. It made me very happy to see all that. This witness, Manuel Quadra, says he didn't know what a Navy grog was. Phil Spector ordered it. He wasn't clear on it. So that undercuts the idea that this was a house drink and that the bartender just sent it over to Phil Spector, and supports the prosecution's theory that Spector ordered these drinks and by implication, he drank them.
Yeah, I mean, the prosecution clearly needs to bring out the fact that he was drinking that night to make it go in line with their whole theory of the case, whereby alcohol and guns equals violence on the part of Phil Spector. And that's the theory on the case, that he starts out as a good guy, and then he all of a sudden loses that loving feeling when he has the alcohol, and it turns him into a complete lunatic. So they need to bring out this testimony, Lisa.
But I mean, ultimately, if the jury decides he was drunk, he was a little bit intoxicated, or he was stone cold sober, does it really matter?
I think it does matter from the prosecution standpoint, because they brought out these four other witnesses, these four women who all testified that they enjoyed his company, but then when the alcohol took effect, he snapped. He turned into a complete lunatic, and that's the type of theory that they're going to try to bring out with Clarkson. So, and by the way, this type of character assassination type of evidence, you know, and my feeling is it should never come into a trial. It's a character assassination. A criminal defendant, the accused, should be judged on what they did in this particular case, and not this is your life, Phil Spector, and we're going to bring in all this evidence. I think it's fundamentally goes against his Sixth Amendment right to a fair trial.
Well, we'll see what the appellate courts say about that if there's a conviction here. But David Schwartz, how about the fact that he's throwing around all this money? How does that play with the jury? Can that be a positive for the defense, that this guy is leaving $500 tips, $400 tips, giving $100 to this guy, $100 to this guy? Is there some way that maybe this jury will say, hey, maybe he's not a bad guy?
I think it goes towards. I think the defense is clearly going to argue that he's a good guy, that he's a generous person, that you know, he gives tips of 1,000% to waiters and waitresses who are trying to make it in the world on minimum salary. He's helping people that work in restaurants. I think they're going to use it to their advantage.
Now, here's the thing I think the prosecution can use against him on the same issue, Lisa, is that look at who he's dating in these nights, and why are these people with him?
The waitress.
The waitress, because they know this guy's the big tipper, so if he's going to ask me for a drink, I'm going to go for a drink. And, you know, maybe it explains why Lana Clarkson might have gone. We don't know if there's any evidence of her getting a big tip that night.
No, but keep in mind how the night started out with Lana Clarkson and Phil Spector, that she didn't recognize him, and this was very embarrassing, and her manager had to tell her, it's Phil Spector. And then she says, oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Spector, again embarrassing herself and embarrassing her employer by implication, implying that he's a female. So she steps in it twice, and I think she felt that she had to make it up to him. So when he begs her, and that's the testimony, please come home with me, let me give you a ride, just come over, just have one drink, she goes along with it, probably, you know, to save face for the House of Blues.
That, but also treat him like Dan Aykroyd,
that's
the
right.
owner of the House of Blues. Why? But why do you treat him like that? Is it because he's a powerful man?
Absolutely.
No, or is it because he is laying $100 bills on everybody and he's spending thousands of dollars?
I think it's both.
I think it's the money. I think it's the money, the money, the money.
Yeah, he's a member of the club. We learned yesterday. He's a member of the foundation room at the House of Blues, and he's a big spender, and those are the kinds of people you got to treat like gold.
You got to treat him like gold, and it's in your self-interest to treat him like gold. That's because right. Then you'll get some of the green.
Although clearly she did not have to go home with him. She didn't have to. She didn't have to go home. Well, you've heard more than one witness.
The others, at least just 1 second. Let me just interrupt you 1 second.
Come on.
Because the other women, because I'm thinking about this, you know, who was he dating that night? The other woman is Kathy Sullivan. She's the waitress at the grill.
Yeah.
So she decides to go along with
But
them.
they're friends for years.
But they're friends, but why are they friends for years? Because she's the waitress and he's
Right.
the guy with the $400 tips?
So
Is
it's
that why
greasing
they're
the wheels
friends?
with a good client. Is
Yeah,
basically what you're
that's
doing.
what I think is really
basically
going
what
on
you're-
here.
Well, I think there's an element of
Sorry
that.
for the interruption.
No, absolutely. All right. You've heard more than one witness testify that Phil Spector ordered more than one drink on the night of Lana Clarkson's death, and you've even seen those bar receipts.